Hi there, my name is Alexandra Amor Castillo. I am a student of Philology Hispanic 1. I am 18 years old and I am going to present a task of effective communication in English 1. So this is my final grammar and vocabulary individual task. I am going to be working with two exercises from Workbook on grammar and vocabulary. On the one hand, in grammar, I will explain comparatives and superlatives. And in the other hand, in vocabulary, I will try to explain art and music and common verbs in passive. As for grammar, as I said a moment ago, I will try to explain the comparatives and superlatives with examples, and then I will try to explain the exercise 1A, page 14. In the vocabulary, the same. I will try to explain the section art and music on page 46, exercise 1A, and on the other hand, exercise 1B, the same page, on common verbs in the passive. So this is the exercise of grammar. You can see a table with information and then the sentences. You can complete the sentences with the information of table. The exercise demonstrates you the average max daily temperature January, or population or size, for example. And then you can complete the exercise, the sentences, with verbs to parentheses. For example, cold, hot, small, big, or then. You can see that you have 8 sentences, and now I can see the grammar. The comparative have 4 uses. The first, we use comparative adjectives on and adverbs to compare two things or actions, usually with done. For example, you can see in sentences 7 and 8, but then I can check. For example, John is more interesting than Michael. The second use is that we can use as to show that two things are equal. This I can see we can see in sentences 1 and 6, but with isn't. But now I can explain. For example, he is as tall as me. The third item is we can use not as to mean less than. This we can see in sentences 1, 4, and 6. For example, he isn't as clever as me. This I saw a few moments ago. And the fourth item is we often use comparative or as to compare the past with the present. For example, he's not as bad as last time. Okay, so now I can check the exercise 1A, page 14. We can have the sentences and, on the other hand, the table with information. Okay, I can explain the sentences which has comparatives, because superlatives I can explain later. Okay, 1. In July, London isn't as warm as New York. 4. Rome is less cold than London in January. Why? Because the average maximum daily temperatures of January of London is 8, but in Rome is 12. So 8 is less than 12. London is more cold than Rome. Okay. 6. Rome isn't as big as London. Population of London 8.5 million. Population of Rome 2.7 million. What is more? London, because it's obvious. So is Rome isn't as big as London, because London is more big than Rome. The sentence is 7. London is larger than New York. Why? Because the size of London is 1.5 thousand kilometer, and for New York 8,000. So London is more larger, more. And the sentence 8, hotels in New York are more expensive than hotels in Rome. Why? Because the average hotel price of New York is 2020 and in Rome 1080. So New York is more expensive, so are more expensive than. Why than in the sentences? Because the comparatives always use than or as. Okay? Now I can explain the superlatives. The superlatives has two uses. In the one hand, we use superlative adjectives or adverbs to talk about extremes, usually with the. For example, who can run the farthest? This we can see in sentences 2 and 5. And the second use is we often use superlatives with ever and the present perfect. For example, this is the best meal I've ever eaten. Now I can explain the sentences of the exercise of grammar. Okay, sentences 2. Rome is the hottest city in July. Why? Because in July, Rome has 30 average max daily temperature, but the rest has 23 and 29, so is the hottest. Okay, sentence 5. Rome has the smallest population because the population of Rome is 2.7 and the London and New York has more than 8. For example, London 8.5 and New York 8.3. Okay, and I've forgotten that the sentence 3 have part of comparative, but I explain now. New York is colder than London in January. Why? Because New York has in January the maximum 3 and London 8. So New York is more cold than. Now we can see the table who has the explanation to formate the adjectives and the adverbs to comparative and superlative. The first of comma is the comparative and the rest the superlative. For example, adjectives with one syllable, rich, in comparative is richer, and in the superlative, be richest. Ending in I, easier, and in superlative, the easiest. And two or more syllables, more careful, and in superlative, the most careful. And irregular adjectives, for example, good, bad, far, cute, or bored, has another type. It's irregular. For good, the comparative is better, and the superlative is the best. And with adverbs, the same. So this is the exercise of vocabulary. 1A to art and music, and 1B to common verbs in the passive. Now I can realize. And this is the exercise 1A of page 46 to vocabulary. Okay, 1 is a poem, that the translation in Spanish is poema. 2, album, the same in Spanish. 3, classical music, música clásica. And 4, architecture, arquitectura. 5 is a novel, novela. 6, a sculptor, escultura. 7, photograph, fotografía o imagen o retrato. 8 movie, película. 9 painting, pintura, cuadro. And 10 serie, the same in Spanish. And finally, the exercise 1 bit from page 46, where you match sentences 1 to 8 with 8 to 8 to make sentences complete. I can know that information because I can check in internet the response, but has not an explication. Sorry. 1C, 2F, 3D, 4B, 5A, 6G, 7A8, and 8E. 1. In the film The Bourne Identity, Jason Bourne was played by Matt Damon. 2. The 19th century novels War and Peace and Anna Karenina were written by the Russian writer Leo Tolstoy. D. The first Star Wars film was directed by George Lucas in 1977. 4. The opera Carmen by the composer Bizet was first performed in Paris in 1875. 5. The play Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare was set in the town of Verona in Italy. 7. 6. The movie Apollo 13, starring Tom Hanks, was designed by based on the true story of NASA's third mission to the moon. 7. 8. The iPod was designed by Apple in 20.1. And 8. You can see Guernica in a special gallery in the Museo Reina Sofía in Madrid. It was painted by Pablo Picasso in 1937. Anyway, I hope you like it. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.